Hey everyone, it's your girl D here with 8th House Energy, here to bring you your July astrological analysis for July 2021. I hope all is well with everyone. I hope that you are enjoying yourself wherever you are, morning, noon, or night, wherever you are in the world. I want to thank you for checking out the channel. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you'll know when I post. I implement astrology into my tarot readings. I am a student of astrology, and I have been for a while now, and I just can't see, doing tarot without implementing astrology into it, with my understanding of it. So I have a little bit of a different way of doing things on my channel. It's loaded with astrology based energy. So with that being said, just keep this in mind when you are checking out the readings. So what we're going to do with this in this video is every month what I do is I go over where the planets are in what house and what chart, and just give you an idea of what we as a planetary body are going to be experiencing. So with that being said, let's get into it. So we got a few planets that are in retrograde. We'll talk about each of those. There's Neptune that's in retrograde. There's Jupiter that's in retrograde. There's Pluto that's in retrograde. And Saturn is in retrograde as well. So we currently have 4 planets in retrograde. Mercury just came out, but we're still in the pre-shadow stages, the post-shadow stages up until like July 6th. So if you're still experiencing weird stuff with your computer, things loading really slowly, or glitches of some sort, just know that we're still feeling the last little bit of the residual effect of Mercury retrograde weaning out. So, you shouldn't have too much issue anymore. I usually experience a lot of problems either in the post-shadow period or the pre-shadow period. So I'm just waiting for July 6th. Like my loading up videos was crazy within the last 72 hours. And my phone's been on and off, in and out. People telling me that they called me or left me messages and I didn't get them. So, just know that, some of us still experience things in the post-shadow period of Mercury retrograde. So let's start with the first house. So with the first house here, we have Aries, right? Aries rules the first house. And we have Chiron there. Now, Chiron is, it's not a planet, but Chiron is an energy. It's like a, what do you want to call it? It's not a, it's not a planet. I'm going to brain fart here what Chiron is as far as what you would call the planetary body of it. All right, but it is a it's really important in your chart because Chiron will tell you where the healing lies in the area of your chart, where you need to heal. So right now for all of us, Chiron is in the first house with Aries. The first house deals with our physical body, our outlook on things, our self-image, our philosophies on things, our opinions. It also deals with self-awareness, the awakening process that you go through, all right? Because your first house, if you look at the planets that are there, it deals with your psychology and your makeup, a lot of that. So with Chiron in the first house, what we're dealing with is we're dealing with healing powers. Because Chiron, if you don't know anything about Chiron, he's a wounded healer. He was a teacher, he was wounded, and he was a healer. He didn't let his wounds stop him from, doing what his mission work was, which was to heal and to teach. So despite all of the things that he went through, all the atrocities that he went through, he would put that to the side and still give his time, energy, effort to help others on their journey. So with Chiron in retrograde, what we're looking at is okay, what healing powers do we have? What can we do to help ourselves so that we can in turn help, our community? It also talks about letting go of past pains that have hurt you. So with all these planets that we have in retrograde, including Chiron, this is a time of reflection for a lot of us. It should be used as a time to look back at what was going on between last year and this year, because all the planets go into retrograde around this time every year. So that's part of understanding astrology. If you are really someone who's trying to understand your chart and understand the planetary alignments, all you have to do is understand the cycle of each planet. They repeat the cycles. every so many times, and as you get to know each planet and their cycles and how quick they, like for example, Mercury is the only planet that will retrograde 3 times a year. That's because Mercury is the fastest planet. It's also an androgynous planet, where the other planets are either masculine or feminine. The only other planet that's androgynous in nature besides Mercury is Uranus. So depending on what other planets are next to it, if there's more of a masculine planet that's next to it, it'll take on the energies of, Mercury, and Uranus will take on the energies of the masculine planet next to it. Like if it's next to Mars, right? If it is next to a planet like Venus, which is feminine, then it will take on, more of a feminine energy. All right. So just a little something about, the planets there. But yeah, with Chiron in the first house, what we're doing is we're, looking at a lot of us healing our bodies, okay, protecting our bodies, from physical issues, because we got, the coronavirus vaccine going on, for example. But we're also talking about pain, releasing negative associations or negative energy to pain that we've been through in the past. So, Chiron's going to go into retrograde on July 18th. So you may start feeling the energies of, looking at some of the things that you've been through, some of the things that have hurt you, and looking at, okay, well, how can I turn this into something that I can use for my benefit? So a lot of people are dealing with things that have been hurtful, harmful, but whether it's physically, whether it's emotionally or spiritually or mentally, but taking that pain and looking at it and seeing how you can turn it around so that you're not looking at yourself like, woe is me, but it's like, okay, I'm going to use this as my superpower. How can I turn it around and use it towards my benefit? So that's what we're going to be experiencing with Chiron in the first house. Now with the second house, you got Uranus there. Now, Uranus is a planet of like breakthroughs. It's the planet of transform. It's like the planet of brainstorming. It deals with your originality, like the inner genius in you. It deals with your spiritual awakening as well. It deals with technology, innovation, humanitarianism, reform, freedom. Okay, it deals with edginess. It deals with the unexpected. Uranus is like the planet of surprise, right? And it's in our second house. So the second house basically deals with the material world, how you make your money, your possessions, your financial situation, like your credit score, your physical possessions, like if you own houses, if you own cars, those types of things, your physical possessions. It also deals with self-worth, okay, how you feel about yourself. And that has a lot to do with how people treat you. So that's where that energy is. And, as far as how we're going to be seeing the energies of Uranus manifest, with COVID, you had a lot of people who could not go to the brick and mortar job to work, right? So what they had to do was a lot of people have found work online, or they've started working from home. And so now if you look at the news, you'll see that I've been seeing it a lot now, but there's different news segments that talk about how, there's like a gap in employment. And a lot of people will say, well, that's because the government gave out so much money. But there's a change going on. We're in the age of Aquarius, where, Aquarius deals with, humanitarianism, things being better for all of us. And Uranus rules Aquarius. So, we're on the edge of innovation. We're on the edge of breakthroughs, transformations, because we've never dealt with anything like this in our lifetime. So the workplace and the Department of Labor and the statistics are really interesting to check out, where you'll see that there's a lot of jobs now who are now catering to the employee. And, now we're not looked at anymore as a number. So you can get some pretty good deals going into the work environment now. You can negotiate more. You have more wiggle room than ever before to negotiate what it is that you want and what what you're looking for as far as in an employer. Now is a time more so where they have to listen to people more so than they've ever done before, because they're looking to employ people. So this is a beautiful time if you're looking for jobs, and we'll get to that when we get to the 10th house, because Pluto's in retrograde there. So a lot of people are looking to change professions and things like that. This is a great opportunity. for people to, go to the, go out and say, okay, let me apply for a job. Let me see who gives me the best. It's not going to be, you don't want to look at it as about, oh, it's all about money anymore, because money can compensate for other things where you may not be making, you may make maybe $10,000 less at this job, but at this job, you don't have to commute to the office every week. So you're saving on gas, right? And tolls, depending on how long it would take you to get to the office. So start looking at, the other things that jobs are offering, in reference to money making potential. What are some of the benefits that they offer you? Because they're going to be getting a lot more competitive, these employers, because they want people to come back to work. So yeah, this is what we're dealing with Uranus here. The whole workplace environment is changing. We're revolutionizing things and how people make money. People have made more money online than in any other, than in a typical brick and mortar environment in the last 10 years than we've seen, in a traditional brick and mortar, in the last, 2 decades. So, it's a really interesting time, right? So you're going to see people being more earthy and practical about how they make their money. You're going to see people being more, collecting more possessions, because they're making more money than they have when they were working in the brick and mortar. So it's going to be hard for, these companies to get people to come back into the work environment. But we'll see. Keep an eye on the news and see the things that people are offering. But let's go to the third house here, because right now, with the third house, we got Mercury and Gemini. Like I was telling you before, Mercury just came out of retrograde, but it's still in the third house. So, the third house deals with your thoughts, your speech. It deals with social media. It deals with like weekend excursions, dating. The third house also deals with your extended family, like your siblings, your stepmother, your stepfather, your stepsisters and brothers, your aunties, uncles, cousins. That type of energy is in the third house. Okay, you're dealing with street life, which goes on, what goes on in your neighborhood, that type of thing. Also deals with your surroundings. So you're going to see, right now what we're dealing with people there. People are thinking about this. They're being more, people are opening up more to their neighbors. People are getting together in their communities, doing things. I was just watching something on the news where, if you live in a city that has alleys, there's this group, there's a block of people here where they went and they decorated their alley, they cleaned it out, they painted the concrete, and then the buildings, when you walk through, like the back of the garages, they have murals and things like that drawn on them. And so this is just something that they're doing to try to bring the community together. Oh, we got I live near a hospital. So, you got the ambulances running back and forth. So I just incorporated it into my readings. But this is part of my surroundings. Okay? So part of my environment. So yeah, Mercury's going to be coming out of Gemini, because Mercury is the planet of, it's the planet of communication. It's the planet of your thoughts, your words. It's the planet of how you analyze things, how you learn. Your awareness, what you pay attention to, your perception on things. So we're going from looking at our perception on what's going on in our environment, what's going on in our neighborhood, what's going on with our siblings or our in-laws, things like that, and what's going on social media. We'll start, thinking about, how can I word this? We'll start thinking more about what's going on in our home and in our private life, because Mercury is going to be going into Cancer on July 11th, okay? And Cancer is in the fourth house. The fourth house has to deal with your home, your family, your background, your bloodline, your generations. But it also deals with comfort, your inner world. It could deal with your real estate, your actual physical home, what it is that you consider shelter and where. But it also deals with self-care, okay? What's going on within you and your habits. So a lot of people are going to be focusing on their home, what's going on with their home. They're going to be trying to make it more comfortable. They're going to be focused on family. A lot of people are going to be doing family reunions now, that things have started to clear up with COVID. So a lot of people are going to be planning and doing that. A lot of people are going to be spending time in their yards, fixing up their yards, fixing up their homes internally, externally. So people will be doing things like that, and they'll be communicating with their neighbors about what they're doing and, hey, who painted your house? They did a good job and things like that. So People will be doing a lot of work in their homes, as well as on your inner self. The fifth house, we got Mars in Leo right now. Mars is the planet of taking action, and Leo is the Leo is the energy of being expressive, creative, loving, and playful. It's also very flirtatious energy, egotistical in sometimes, but it's very proud as well, and very trusting. Now, with the fifth house, we're talking about areas of life where we talk about entertainment, the things you like to do for fun, whatever you like to do to relax and have fun. We're also talking about love affairs. These are like short-term affairs, romantic affairs, things like that. Your sexual pleasures, your sexual fetishes, parties. It also is the house of children, right? So, with Mars there, we go from taking action in these areas of life, being more creative in reference to what you're doing with your children, being more creative with your lover. Some of you, if you're in relationships and things, you may want to be a little bit more experimental, or your partner may want to be more experimental. Go ahead and take the opportunity to do that. And if that's what you've been thinking, do it, because, that's what the energies are promoting right now. So you got Venus in there as well. So Mars and Venus. So you got your romantic love, as far as what you see as romantic and what you could see yourself settling down and falling in love with, as well as your sexual desires, all in Leo right now, right? So people are going to be sprucing it up in the bedroom. Let's put it that way. And there's nothing wrong with that. People are going to be doing more things with their kids. They may be going out to amusement parks now, going to the movies, going on vacations. So, the house of fun, what you like to do for fun, is where Mars and Venus are. So you're going to see a lot of people going out and doing things. And you may even be in the energy of, damn, I want to go to I was just talking about going to see Cruella. I wanted to go see Cruella the other day, but I went ahead and got it online. But, going to the movies, doing whatever, there's 4th of July events now going on in some of the major metropolises. People are going to be coming out to do that. So people are just going to be in the energy of wanting to get out and express themselves, right? So with the 6th house, Virgo, we don't have anything in there right now, but what's going to happen is Mars is going to go into Virgo on July 29th. So we'll talk about that later in the month, because we have 31 days in July. So when I do the astrological analysis for August, I'll talk about more so of Mars going into Virgo. So nothing in the 7th house right now, nothing in the 8th house, nothing in the 9th house. The next house that we have planets in is the 10th house. And this is about the career. Your reputation, your career, your responsibilities, your achievements, your professional endeavors. It also talks about your fame, as far as who you're known as or what you're known as, whether in a career environment or just, maybe you're the guy who has the greenhouse down at the end of the road. That's how your neighbors know you, right? So we also talking about authority figures. We're also talking about, moving with purpose. And the patriarchal empire and your father figure is also in the 10th house. Like your mother figure is in the 4th house. Okay. So your father figure is in the 10th house. So we got Pluto there in retrograde. Now Pluto's a planet of power struggles. Pluto's also the planet of death and rebirth and renewal. It also is the planet of your basic instincts and what motivates you and your personal power, like your intestinal fortitude, within you. It also deals with obsessions, it deals with taboos, death and rebirth. Like I said, also deals with cycles, So a lot of people are looking at themselves as far as what they do for a living, or they're just looking at their reputation in general, and they're considering what it is how people see them, and maybe they're considering changing that. Whether it's, okay, I don't want to do this type of work anymore. I'm considering going into law. I no longer want to be a scientist. I now want to be a race car driver. You see the what is it, I forget what the name of the beer is, but there's a commercial where a woman, she turned in her badge. She used to be a detective, and she turned in her badge, and she wanted to be a DJ, and so she turned, did her thing. So people are going to be considering what it is that they want to do as far as money. And like I was saying when I was talking to you about what's going on in the 2nd house, where people are making money online. You know, the work environment now is a totally different place than it was a year ago, a year and a half ago, to 2 years ago. You have more option now to go in and negotiate what it is that you want, because employers are thirsty for employees. So now is a great time to start looking for a new job. If you've ever considered looking for a job, now is the time. Okay, you have a lot more bargaining room than you did in any other that I could ever think of in my years that I've been on this planet. You have more bargaining room than you ever had before. So let's talk about the 11th house, because we got Aquarius, which is the 11th house. We have Saturn in retrograde there. Now, Saturn is the planet of discipline. All right, it's the planet of structure. Okay, Saturn is like, all right, now calm down, enough, get back to work. You know what I mean? That's Saturn. So when we're dealing with the 11th house, where Aquarius is, we're dealing with the house of friendship. This is the house of your social life. This is the house of group activities, community and humanitarian efforts. You know, the 11th house deals with your hopes and dreams. It deals with your long-term plans. It also deals with discoveries and startups and rebellion. Remember, I was telling you about Uranus. Well, Uranus rules the 11th house, and it's all about, you know, that inner genius in you and rebelliousness and innovation. So now Saturn, the disciplinary, is there, right? And so what we're seeing is, on a grand scale, we're seeing people stopping and looking at, okay, what do we have in place as far as the structures and the routines that need to be changed? Because Saturn is father time. Saturn says, okay, it's time to do something else. Like, you know, you went through the first through the sixth grade. Now it's time for you to graduate and go to junior high. So you go to junior high for whatever amount of grades, and then it's time for you to graduate, and then you go to high school, right? So Saturn tells you when it's time to change. Okay, not just in that type of environment, but just in every area of your life. Like, it's time for you to stop going to, you know, it's time for you to stop going to the bar once you get a certain age, because you'll start looking like a pedophile. You know what I mean? So, but some people, you know, they do what they want, of course, but, you know, Saturn tells you when it's time to let something go. And so when it's in retrograde, it's a matter of, what do I need to let go? What do I need to change? What is it time, you know, when it's like, okay, time's up. What situations in my life do I have to look at that say time's up? And that's where you want to look to see where Saturn is in your chart. Finally, with the 12th house here, we have two planets that are there, all right, in the house of Pisces. Now, the house of Pisces, the 12th house, this deals with the subconscious mind. It deals with compassion. It deals with your dreams, okay? It also deals with karma. Yeah, we got the firecrackers going. I was wondering when I was going to start hearing them. It deals with baggage. It also could deal with, like, trance-like states, because, you know, the house of Pisces, it deals with overdoses. It deals with drug use, drug addiction. Okay, so when we talk about trance-like states, whether it's a medically induced coma, for example, in the doctor's office, or whether you take something illegally and you overdose, and you're in a trance-like state, that type of energy. It also deals with your the unseen enemies. It deals with healing. It deals with spiritual development. But it also deals with guilt, guilty conscience, self-pity. It's the house of self-undoing. And we have two planets there in retrograde, which are Jupiter and Neptune. Let's talk about Jupiter first, because Jupiter is all about good luck, good fortune, and expansion. Now, whenever Jupiter leaves a particular house, it is said to leave you a gift. Now, Jupiter's in Pisces right now, in the 12th house. And it's in retrograde there. So when Jupiter's in retrograde, Jupiter is wanting you to look at where you could take a risk, because Jupiter upright is all about taking risks. So it's going to have you say, okay, what have you been holding back on that you really need to take a risk on? And why haven't you? What do you need to consider? What do you need to change? What do you need to do? Why don't you have good luck in this area? If you don't, why? What is it that you didn't do? What is it that you need to do? So I did a reading for all of you based on your sun sign, telling you what Jupiter may leave for you once it leaves Pisces, because it leaves Pisces on July 28th. So we'll talk about that more so when I do the astrological analysis for August. So we'll talk more about Venus in Virgo, and we'll talk more about Jupiter in Aquarius towards the end of the month for the Virgo astrological. I'm sorry for the. I was going to say the Virgo astrological analysis for the August astrological analysis. Now we got Pluto in retrograde there as well. Now Pluto is the planet of compassion. It's the planet of your creative imagination. It's the planet of, psychic abilities. And it's in the house of karma. This can be a rough time for all of us because Neptune's going to be in retrograde until August. All of the until actually the last day of November. So like till December. And then keep in mind we have post shadow periods that last 2 weeks after. So the majority of the planets that are in retrograde right now are going to be in retrograde until at least October. Okay, so we have between now and then to really sit back and reevaluate wherever these planets are in retrograde in our houses, in our charts. Really evaluate what's going on in that particular area of your life and what you may need to implement or change. So what I did for you is I did a reading for you for Neptune retrograde. It talks about some of the things that you may have to take off the rose-colored glasses and deal with, because Neptune retrograde is about taking off the rose-colored glasses, because Neptune is about illusions. And when it's in retrograde, it moves away those clouds so that you can see what's really going on. And a lot of us, whether we've been lying to ourselves or in self-doubt or, downplaying something or over-embellishing on something, the rose-colored glasses are going to make you see that. And if you don't know what it is that you need to focus on, or maybe you're not one that has to focus on much, but whatever comes to your mind the most about what you're in denial about is, between now and December is what Jupiter wants you to focus on, or what Neptune retrograde wants you to focus on. What we're also going to be seeing is a lot of people not being able to deal with the reality of their own actions. The 12th house is the house of self-undoing. So that energy of you made your own bed, now you got to lay in it. And so, with Neptune in retrograde, people are going to be feeling sorry for themselves because of what went on. Some people are not going to be able to cope with the real reality of the situation once the illusions are removed, whether it was something that they did to someone or whether it was something that was did to them. People may have a difficult time coping. So you're going to see a lot more unfortunately, people using various mechanisms to cope, like drugs. So as a result of that, you may see people, if they're not able to cope with whatever their demons are, they could be, doing more drugs than ever before, because Neptune is not going to make it easy for them to block it out like they normally would have been able to. And that's for all of us, whatever we're going through. And we're also going to be seeing people around us who were not our friends. Like, we're going to see who they are. And what it is the way you're going to find it out is, it's not like people are going to come confess to you, oh, I did you wrong, I was doing you dirty. Neptune is a planet of dreams, so you'll have some dreams, some of you, so pay attention to your dreams. Now more than ever, if your dreams are telling you something weird about somebody around you, I would pay attention to that. Okay? Because your spirit guides may even come to you and tell you they don't want you dealing with someone where you can't see in the real world why. But your intuition is there to tell you something is up. So please pay attention to your intuition and what's been going on. Some of you will find out some things about people around you through your dreams. So make sure you get in your sleep as well. So we went through all the 12 houses here. Again, the planets that are in retrograde, I did readings for you on those. So please check those out if you want to know more about what's going on and what area of your chart you should be looking at. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for checking out the video. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to make a comment at the end of the video. Let me know if it resonated or not. I'm not interested in anything else, really. It's just if it resonated or not. So with that being said, thanks for checking out the astrological analysis for July. I wish you guys the best. Take care.